Welcome to this installment of the Wilde Toyota How-To series. My name is Chad Witishak, and in this video we will cover the first of a four-part series using your Toyota Gen 6 navigation system, commonly referred to as Gen 6. To make using your nav system a great experience, it's important to get things set up the way you like. So to start off in part 1, let's take a look at the general settings of your navigation system. When first starting your Toyota vehicle, you'll notice a cautionary statement on your navigation screen. Driving your vehicle and operating the nav system at the same time can be distracting. What you will notice is while you're driving, there are some features that will be grayed out. Now, these features can still be accessed using voice commands, which we'll get into at a later point. Another thing to note is that the Gen 6 nav system is going to be the same whether you're driving a Camry or a Land Cruiser. So what we're going over here, you'll be able to use in any of the vehicles that use the Gen 6 navigation system. Since we'll be working on the general setup of your nav system, we'll be focusing on the setup, display, and info buttons. First, the display button. This button is quite simply a place to control the screen contrast and brightness, as well as turn the screen completely off. Moving to setup, as you can see here, there are several options to look at. We will skip over phone and audio, as we will cover these in a separate segment. These both have to do with pairing and managing your Bluetooth devices. In the general settings, we're able to change things like language, keyboard layout, and units of measure. The languages available are English, French, and Spanish. You will notice whenever the screen is touched, there's a beep, and you can turn these beeps off here. Now there is no longer any beeps. For those that like to leave their screen in the phone or audio controls, the auto screen change setting is great since you can stop the auto screen change by selecting off. Next time you see the radio or phone, it will leave that screen up and will not switch back to the navigation screen. Now here, you can choose between QWERTY, which is the normal computer keyboard layout, or an alphabetical layout. Pushing the down arrow will get you to the units of measure, between kilometers or miles. There is also a button to delete all of your personal data. Now let's go back to the setup. Now when you're done here, in order to keep any of the changes that you've made, you need to select Save. The clock section simply has a location for you to adjust your time zone and daylight savings time settings. These determine your navigation arrival times. Under voice settings, you can control the volume of voice feedback.
Guidance will be at this volume. Guidance will be at this volume. Guidance will be at this volume.
You can also turn on or off the assistance for the voice recognition system. You will then only have on-screen guidance. Until you're familiar with the system, you can leave the voice recognition guidance on. This is to assist with your voice commands. Now moving on to the Navi settings, short for navigation. The Navi settings brings up the detailed navigation options. In this section, you can set your home, you can edit preset destinations 1 through 5, you can modify your address book and areas to avoid. You can also delete previous destinations once you've gone to different locations. And here we will only focus on the detailed settings since we will be covering destinations in another video. Moving on to the Navi area brings up the detailed navigation options. In this section, you can set your home, you can edit preset destinations, and modify your address book or areas to avoid, as well as deleting previous destinations. Since we'll be covering these in a different section, we will focus on the detailed Navi settings. Most of the items under detailed Navi settings are fairly straightforward. By far the most useful item in here is the ability to customize your average speeds on varying roads, making sure that the residential roads match what you normally do while driving, as well as the main streets and freeways. Autocomplete text to help you complete information when you're entering for destinations and whatnot. Guidance with street names. The voice guidance will try to say the street names where available. Under the page down, you can customize your points of interest icons. You can also turn off different functions in your navigation settings. The grayed out areas would mean that they're not going to normally show up. They will be hidden by default. The last item in the setup menu is the vehicle item. And here are the options to add or edit vehicle maintenances, such as engine oil, oil filter, tire rotations, as well as your more in-depth maintenances as well. You can set these to be either triggered by a certain amount of miles or a specific date. If you regularly use a specific Toyota dealer, you can also set that to be your preferred dealer. Then you can go through in here. We'll get into setting destinations at a later point, and at that point you'll be able to go back in here and set your preferred dealer in the same manner. Now we have one last button to go over, the info button. Toyota does periodically update their maps, and updating your map is as simple as replacing the map DVD. Under map data, there's an eject button. Simply eject your current map DVD and replace it with a new DVD. In this case, we will not be replacing the map, so we'll just put the original map DVD back in. And then we will close the screen. Then the map will reload. Now, some of these buttons will be laid out a little bit differently depending on the particular Toyota that you have. Even though there are a lot of different things you can change in your navigation settings, it does go by pretty quickly. The most common things that need tweaking are the keyboard layout, as well as whether or not the screen changes from one screen to another, and the voice guidance volume. We've gone over those things as well as a few others, and we hope that you found this video to be helpful. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer those. Otherwise, if you'd like to know how something else works on your Toyota vehicle, please email howto@wildetoyota.com, and we'll do our best to answer that in an upcoming video. We'll see you next time.